Okay, well, hi everybody. Right now we're doing a live stream on both Facebook and Instagram, so I don't quite know where to look. But welcome to our live stream. This is Asian Pop Weekly's very first live stream. And we're doing a live stream in coordination with our APW Earth Emergency Campaign. So basically what the campaign is about is, basically I've just been very into like planet related stuff recently. I just felt like I needed to do something extra because recently I found out that in 2015 we signed a Paris Agreement. So it was like all the countries would come together and they would set a pledge for themselves, like, okay, within like this amount of time we have to offset carbon emissions by like this certain amount. But I just realized that this year, maybe in February, news articles started coming out saying like all the countries are so far away from like meeting their pledges, maybe like 80%. Like they still need to go 80% more, even though we only have maybe like a couple years left till the deadline. So I was kind of thinking, before I think I was a little bit like, oh, like the government will take care of it or whatever. But then I realized like they actually are not doing anything. So I wanted to do my own part and like not just, I've always kind of like done a little bit more in terms of leading a sustainable lifestyle and like looking out for like how can I lessen my carbon footprint. But at the same time I found like since I have this platform, I need to do something about it. And I realized like it's a little bit of a stretch because I know Asian Pop Weekly is still like a music-based media platform. But I mean, if you have a platform, and to me, music is about social change. It's about making a difference. So that's why I wanted to do Asian Pop Weekly Earth Emergency, like a whole campaign. And so what the campaign was about was trying to find the intersection between the environmentalism and also Asian music, because I find that not that many people are talking about those kinds of things nowadays. So we did like 3 articles. We did an interview with Dizzy Dizzle, who's like a fan of the ocean, and she really like looks at ocean conservation in her efforts and also in her work. We did a feature article about 4 artists Asian artists who we think are really contributing to the environmentalism movement throughout Asia. So that one had Khalil Feng, Wang Li Hong, Inch Chua, and Haya Ban. And then just a few days ago, we posted like a massive playlist of environmental Asian music. So it's 3 hours long. If you want to find it, it's somewhere on our page or in our Spotify. And so just to kind of end the campaign, since like April is almost over and the campaign is just for a month, I wanted to invite my good friends Celeste and Anie to join me on this live stream to kind of talk with everyone about the intersection between environmentalism and also Asian music in more of like a free-flowing conversation, get their thoughts on it, and also like share with everyone a little bit about our thoughts. Yeah, basically. Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Let me see the comments. I think people are saying stuff.
People
Hi,
are wishing you
Mojo.
happy birthday. Happy
Sup?
birthday.
Who's saying happy birthday?
Oh,
thank
a lot
you.
of them are saying happy birthday. Yeah, on the Facebook one.
And Wrong.
Oh yeah, and wrong.
Hi. Hi, Tingzhi. Thank you. Hi, Christian. Thank you. Hi, and Wrong. That shirt though, Celeste. It's a dress.
It's a
okay?
dress.
You weren't watching. She's gonna. How many times are you gonna stand
I'll do
up?
it whenever anyone sees the shirt. Nice shirt. Stand.
Yeah. Okay, Mojo says love your cause. Thank you so much. She's a really great rapper. I think she's from Malaysia. Yeah. Anyway, so basically Celeste is Singaporean, but she used to work in Taiwan for a very long time. She is an artist, signed with JVR Music, J Cho's company. I feel like your take on sustainability is very interesting because I don't think you consider yourself like conventionally like as eco warrior. Yeah, but at the same time, I think like looking at your house, looking at all these plants,
right. So many plants.
she's very into like minimalism and very into like decluttering. And actually, I think that's like a big part of the mindset that people need to have, like when we're trying to change our mindsets and become more environmentally friendly. Because at the end of the day, what I've realized is not about certain people or like certain countries just putting in the work. It's about everyone changing their entire mindset because just everyone doing a little bit more, it will bring us like that much closer to like offsetting our carbon emissions and like making this place like more sustainable for like future generations and stuff. And also Annie, you are Taiwanese Canadian,
Right.
but based in Singapore now.
Yeah. In
So
Singapore
I feel like you're more obviously an eco-friendly.
Thanks, Giselle.
I don't know what else you want me to
but
say.
it is true. It is true because through my observations, I realized that there's a lot to learn from Annie. Maybe from her background. She already.
Yeah, I think
knows
because Taiwan
more,
itself, I think Taiwan is a really like eco-conscious kind of society, and everybody is like really into like reducing your waste and recycling. So I think living there, and I'm sure when you live there, you also felt the same way.
The difference.
Yeah, and now like living in Singapore, you kind of can see like it's very different, and they approach environmentalism differently too. So yeah.
I feel like for Singapore, it's kind of more still a top-down approach, because I know Singapore is considered a garden city, so there's a lot of plants, and I think in general, in terms of the infrastructure or like what kinds of things they're investing in, Singapore is putting in the work. But I still think that from the ground level, the understanding of how to lead like a sustainable lifestyle is still not so much there. Like for example, when I go to a bread shop and I get bread and I want to bring my own container, the aunties are like, oh yeah, no lah, I give you a plastic bag. I give you a plastic bag, it will be it'll keep the shape. I'm like, it's my money, I do what I want. yeah, so like I kind of feel that they have that mindset, like they don't really see the value of being environmentally friendly. Whereas for me, it's kind of just, I don't like waste in general. I guess kind of like you. I just don't see the need for like all this unnecessary stuff. Because for example, if I brought my own Tupperware, then I wouldn't have to throw stuff away.
Yeah, and like bubble tea and those kind of like where you bring your own cups. And now you can hear sometimes they're kind of like confused, like you brought your own cup, like you want me to fill your cup, and so they don't really have this like
awareness.
They just think like, well, if I do it this way, it's that's how we do it. Like why are you bringing your own
and
cup?
they get confused, right? Because you were mentioning to me that you went there and then you gave them the cup, or was that my story? I can't remember.
Both had, I think, the same experience where we brought our own cup and they didn't want to use our cup. And then you said you argued with them, and then me, I was like, okay, then I'm not gonna buy it. And then she was like, okay, no, we can do it. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I just have to insist a little harder, like you. So yeah, I think that's something that.
I think for me it was like, we had been there before. It was like a double standard kind of thing. Because we had been there before and someone else was like, okay, sure, you can use your own cup. Then the second time we went back, they were like, no, you can't use your own cup. And I'm like, but we used it the last time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe it's a different person.
Yeah, but that kind of shows like a little bit of like, they're not coordinated. Like it's not something coming from the top down. It's just like based on the store manager whether or not they'll be open to that, and whether they see the benefits of that in a sense. So I think it has to come from like all levels, right?
So
I mean, so for me, I guess the really big realization was this year when I saw the climate agreement, how we're progressing like so slowly on this, and because I mean I always was aware of it, and I was always trying to change my own habits as a person, but I think this year my focus is more on like pushing for like wider change and like more solid change, which is why I did this campaign. And also we're actually doing a Patreon giveaway right now, so we are working with Together Bands. So these, oh my gosh, I don't know which hand it is, these bands. So these bands are called Together Bands, and they are actually supported by the likes of like David Beckham, Jamila Jamil, Bill and Melinda Gates, Ed Sheeran, all these amazing people who are also fighting for sustainable development. And so these bands are made of recycled ocean plastic, and the clasps are made of recycled illegal guns or something like that. So basically I felt like it was a really good like having these bands is like a really good reminder of like the cause that you're going for. So mine is life below water, Celeste is like responsible
consumption and production,
and I forget climate action. So you can actually get different colors of bands to support, like to show which particular like UN Sustainable Development Goal like suits you best. And so we're working together band to give away 4 of these. I think 1, 2, 3, and then there's an orange one as well
Oh.
for sustainable cities or something like
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
So that giveaway is going on our Patreon right now. As long as you're subscribed and you message me on either Patreon, Facebook, or Instagram, and let us know what your Earth pledge is, then you're set to go. Like, and we'll pick our favorite 4 pledges to win a Together bag. Yeah, and also the proceeds of this month's Patreon page are gonna be doubled and donated to the Together Fund. So that's gonna go towards like sustainable development goals and stuff like that. Yeah, so as I said, that was my what pushed me to take action. But I also wanted to talk to you guys about like, what was it that, was there like a light bulb moment or like something that kind of made you think, okay, like I need to do something differently in terms of like sustainability and your lifestyle?
I think for me, I stumbled upon this idea, like what you said about minimalistic living, because I'm not so much of an eco warrior. Maybe because I haven't been really aware of it. Yeah. So for me, all it took was one video. This video that I watched, I saw this huge truck hauling a lot of clothes onto the landfill site, and I was astonished because I've never seen so many clothes in my entire life. It's like, how in the world did that happen? And I think it dawned upon me that I contributed to that. Yeah. So I realized, and then I looked at my own wardrobe, and I wonder, like, do I really need so many clothes?
Yeah.
And I've already donated those that I didn't want, but I still had so many, and it was starting to feel overwhelming for me. I don't know, it just happened.
Yeah.
So that very year, I decided to not buy any clothes, any shoes, any bags. Yeah, and I thought it would be difficult to get by at the start because, you know, many times you go out with your friends, you go shopping, you want to buy something. I mean, it's fun, you know, if it's a good deal, why not? But that's how I ended up with such a huge closet. So it wasn't difficult actually. In fact, during that year, I had to work on a short film with Enrong, if you're still listening, Enrong. It was like an independent project that we had. So I was starring in that film, so therefore I had to prepare like 5 to 6 different outfits. So normally I would have gone out to the stores and just buy it.
Like look for something new.
Because like why not? It's for work, right? But that year I just decided to have my stylist friend come over and take a look at the clothes that I have. And she actually put together the outfits that I needed for the shoot. And it was interesting because like I had all those clothes all this while, but she came along and she matched it differently. So it felt like I had a brand new wardrobe. So I kind of did not need new clothes ever since then. You know, I just realized, oh, I just need a stylist. Okay, oh, I have styling skills. You know, and there are a lot of Instagram accounts I realized that teach you how to work with a small closet. You know, they teach you how to match and style using just a few pieces of clothing, and you can just alternate. You know, so I think there are more and more such resources now, and I feel that as we learn how to mix and match, we don't necessarily need to keep buying.
I agree. I think it's really like buying clothes for me, it's kind of like an easy way out when actually there's so many different ways you could work on yourself in order to like fulfill the same need for like looking good, feeling confident. It's kind of maybe in one sense you could kind of work on your creativity, like challenge yourself to find new ways of putting clothes together, or as we've been doing, like going to find alternative solutions to like getting new pieces of fashion, like pieces of clothing, and just making sure that we don't contribute so much to like the waste that you've been seeing in those videos. So Celeste is always telling me she's not an eco warrior, but I mean I'm like, okay, yeah, but actually I think fast fashion is something that is really, really impacting our climate emissions, because I looked up some stats, and at the moment it wastes $500 billion in value every single year, just fast fashion. And I feel like there's so many, because people are kind of getting into, not only are we creating waste, but I think it's also the mindset which is like propagating that even more, because like we have like Amazon Prime, we have like all these delivery services, we have Taobao, that we can just like click a button and then like the stuff will come to us, and it's also so cheap So we just think about, oh, it's $5. We don't think about, this is $5 and I'm going to wear it twice and then I'm going to throw it away. You know, like, whereas I think that's why I keep saying, like, I think it's a mindset change. It's not just about how much money we are wasting. Because it all comes from demand, right? And so if we are demanding fast fashion, then that's what the industry is going to give us. But if we're demanding change, if we're demanding for more ethical practices and like human rights, like as the front line of what our fashion industry is going to be like, then that's what it's going to change into. So I think it's a very important step to do what you're doing. Like, I also feel the pull sometimes when I go to shops. I'm like, oh, that's so nice, should I get it? But I found that there's certain like tips. So one of them is like wait 30 days before purchasing something. So as you guys know, it was my birthday like 2 days ago. Yeah. Thanks. But so on my birthday every year I always get something for myself. So the sunglasses, I decided to get sunglasses, and actually I saw those sunglasses last year.
Oh,
longer than 30 days.
Longer 365 days.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought while walking around, but I was like, okay, like maybe this can be like my present for myself next year. And like all the while I just like slowly thought, way too slowly probably, but I was just thinking, do I need it? Yeah, and then okay, and then I bought it. Yeah, but that's a good tip, like to wait 30 days.
Not have like the impulse buy.
Yeah, because you might not end up using it or whatever. And then another one is, do you have any like eco like tips for like when you're faced with that impulse of buying fast fashion? For me it's waiting. And then another one is like thinking about exactly how I'm going to use this piece, if it's going to go with my closet or whatever.
For me, when I think of that, like how am I going to use this piece, naturally I will think of something else in my closet that I already have. Maybe I do have enough. That's why I tend to feel that it's okay, I think I have something like that. Yeah, but for me, especially waiting, I tend to just wait, and most of the time, a few days later, I just don't think about it.
Like, I didn't like it that much.
I noticed I've never regretted not buying something. But I always regret. Okay, you know what I'm thinking of. I regret acquiring. So I feel it's always better to not buy than to have it.
How about you? What about when you're faced with that?
To not buy.
Purchase.
I'm actually pretty good with impulse purchases, I feel. Because I always wait. And I'm also super slow, and I'm super picky. So, but I do feel like lately, since we've been doing like Swapaholic, like where we can, so Swapaholic is a store that you can bring in your old clothes or old clothes that you don't wear anymore, and then you can swap for points, and then you can get other people's clothes that they brought in. So sometimes when I really feel like I need a shop, I will if I'm nearby, I will go there and like take a look, because I think that itself is also like a way. I mean, it's kind of like shopping, and you are still acquiring new pieces that are new to you, but you're also bringing back like stuff that I really like, but I think I probably won't wear it again, and I can give it to someone else, and somebody else can give me something that they don't want to wear. So I think that's also one of the ways you can manage.
Yeah, I think for the people who don't know, me, Celeste, and Anie, we've been going to this shop in Singapore called Swapaholic. And the interesting thing about this shop is that everything in the shop is either used or like it's like second-hand. But the shop is very much focused on sustainable fashion in a way where they will take in clothes and then they will give you points for the clothes, and then you can spend those points in the store. So I feel like I remember the first time we went together and we were sharing like our thoughts about it after we left, and you were telling me that you felt it was a different experience to just donating your clothes as well. Right?
Yes, because previously I was just donating my clothes at the thrift store, and if I see anything I like, I'll just buy it there. I mean, and most of the time it's pretty new. So I do feel that there's a similarity. Like when I was at the Swapaholic, the clothes there were definitely new. Like some of them have not been worn before. They're like brand new with the text still intact. But I do feel that it's a different experience because they actually really curate their stuff. Like they really how do you say, go through whatever you bring in. They might not necessarily take every item that you bring to them. So therefore you can expect good quality. And I think they seem to go for a specific style as well. Yeah, so, and I feel that I do want to get those kind of styles sometimes. Yeah, so I think it works for me. I mean, I'm not sure if it works for everyone because not everyone would want to wear somebody else's clothing. Maybe they want to wear something brand new. But for me, as long as it's something that I've never worn before, I've never owned it before, then to me it's brand new.
Yeah, pretty much. I think you were also mentioning to me that you felt less, like sometimes when you're thinking about what you want to donate, you feel bad to let something go or like whereas when you saw the store's process, how they were so rigorous and that you felt like, okay, like I'm really giving this to people who are gonna really appreciate it as much as I appreciated it. Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
It's a good cycle.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was Celeste's story, right? About how, I mean, we came a long way, but like from what was it that like pushed her to like change her mindset, and then especially with fast fashion, that's something that really like inspires you to keep living this new lifestyle of yours. But with Anie, what was it that like kind of pushed you? Like, what was that moment, that turning point where you were like, I need to do something different?
For me, actually, you know, it was a couple of years ago. Actually, it wasn't even that long ago. I don't feel like it's not like, oh, like 10 years ago I was like super into like environmentalism.
Yeah.
And it was actually a few years ago. It was during a Earth Day, kind of like an April Earth Day event where they were actually screening a movie in the Singapore Botanic Gardens. And so they were doing this documentary called A Plastic Ocean. And I think that was the first time where I really, I think similar to what you went through, where you like visually saw something that you were like, what is going on? Like, how could it be this bad? And so for me, like prior to seeing this, I would always be like, okay, well, people say you should recycle and reuse, reduce, recycle, and like all these like tips where you can like help the environment and like lessen your waste, but you don't really see the impact because you don't feel like, well, I'm gonna recycle today, but did something happen? Like, is my life different? Like, you don't see the impact of what you're doing. And then so when I was watching the documentary, you know, you get like loads of trash in the ocean, plastics that don't go away, and you see all these like animals that are dying because they're starving and they're eating, you know, plastic. And they like open up the animals sometimes and they really like open their stomachs and you see like they are starving because it's filled with plastic. And so that was the first time I really felt this kind of urgency, like, okay, something is really wrong. Like that's not the way we should be treating our environment at all. Like just, I think that's why I think education is so important. Like just watching the documentary and like learning about what's happening, we can really feel like, okay, this is just not just my own little world. It's like beyond my little scope of like, this is my daily life. Like I don't see the results, but I know it's happening somewhere. So that was really the big turning point. Yeah.
But I think it's really interesting how for both of you it was something that was very visual, striking, and like it's probably yours was like a video and yours was a documentary as well, right? For me, other than the Paris Agreement thing, another thing that really struck me was, I think a few years ago, there was this girl in New York who started a blog called Trash is for Tossers.
Okay.
And I think she did a 1 year where she just went zero waste completely.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then there were a lot of news articles about her, like how she literally had just one glass jar and all the waste that she had created that year was just in that jar. That's all the waste she created in 1 year, just in a little jar. So that was also like something visual for me. But in a sense it's visual, but also in another sense it's kind of creative. It's artistic, like documentaries or like taking pictures and things like that, which is why I think that like music is a really important like, or like public figures such as yourselves are like really important advocates for like these kinds of issues. And I know that especially with like Anie, you don't talk about it very specifically in your music, But I know for your latest album, you can talk a little bit about the design and like how you incorporated that into like the whole concept.
Well, I know the design you're talking about is the one inside the album where there's a picture of the grass that's like littered with trash. So we actually got that idea. I didn't actually start out with the environmental concept when doing this album, but when I was kind of describing all the songs and everything to my designer, she was like, why? So the album name is like Artemis 1889. She's like, so she was trying to like wrap her head around the idea. She's like, so you're going to the moon. Why are you going to the moon? And then so that's when she came up with this idea. She's like, oh, we're going to the moon because everybody trashed this planet.
Oh, like a backstory.
Yeah. So she kind of created that, and then the more I thought about it, the more I felt like there is a very common theme that goes throughout the album that is about having the right mindset for the future. Yeah. Because my album is set in like this dystopian world, right? Where things are going wrongly. Like they've taken a wrong path and everybody is like what how did we get here? Right? So it's kind of supposed to be like a vision of things that could come. So I think what I wanted to convey was that it's really important for us to step back and look at the big picture and be like, are the things we're doing now, are they good for our planet? Are they good for our society? And what is going to happen if we continue down certain roads? So I think that's the mindset of the future. I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah, and I think like with environmentalism, the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because like I feel like everyone has their part to play because we literally all use this planet. And like you said, it's a mindset thing. It's not just like some people do this. Whereas I feel like my vision for the future is like, all right, if we all don't change the way we live, change the way we look at this planet, then it's going to turn into like taking a plane to the moon.
Escape.
So I thought it was really interesting how you like in your physical album you had the picture of like the trash on the grass, because I think on first thought people wouldn't think that your album was anything about that, but when they start thinking about the concepts that you're talking about in your album, especially with technology and with like the rights issues, like ethical issues, they'll realize that actually everything is interconnected. Because like as we were talking about previously as well, like technology is actually a really big player in e-waste and all that kind of stuff as well. It takes up a lot of energy. I was really like surprised to hear like even the amount of emails in your inboxes. Celeste and me are like really, really bad with that.
We have like clearing email.
But I didn't know until very recently that even the amount of emails you have in your inbox, like it takes up a lot of like manpower, and it actually makes sense because like if not, how else would this be powered? How else would we have this technology and be able to? And what exactly are we spending our money on? We are spending our money to get like bigger inboxes, like so we don't have to do as much, but something else is taking on that workload. Something else is taking up energy, which is what we're spending our money on. So I thought that was really cool. But also when I was doing my environmental mental playlist, I also put both of your songs on there, and then P was listening, and I put I put Minty on there because I felt like that song it's not, both of the songs I picked are not specifically to do with the environment, but they're also both kind of about finding a new direction in a certain way. So yours was kind of about being a little bit lost, but then knowing that there's something hopeful in the future. So in that sense, I wanted to express that I think there's still hope. Like everyone thinks about environmentalism as something like, oh, like it's gonna happen, isn't it? And then 就躺着中枪那种感觉. And I'm just like, no, you can't do that. Like because some people think that it's something that's gonna happen in generations to come. It's not gonna affect their generation. So they're just gonna be like, okay, that's fine. But with people like Greta Thunberg, and like the younger people, they're realizing like it's actually our problem now. Everyone else has made it our problem. So I think that's why I coined the term like Earth emergency, because it is an emergency. It's not just something that oh, you can put it aside and let other people deal with it because it's not really gonna work. And so with Shan, which I picked for the playlist as well. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought it was like really cool because do you want to tell us a story about Shan? I know you.
Syn, you mean like the inspiration?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I told you guys both about what Syn was
I was
about.
really touched by it.
Yeah, I also watched it. Yeah, it was really touching.
So Syn was inspired by this one commencement speech that I watched that I also made you guys watch.
Yeah.
It's just like a Neil Gaiman commencement speech,
Yeah.
and he talked about going towards your goal and thinking about your goal like a mountain. And so obviously as you're getting close to the mountain, there are how did he talk about it? He said, you know, there are goals that take you towards the mountain, but depending on where you are, you might think these certain goals will bring you closer or farther away from the mountain. And it all depends on where you are relative to the mountain because you are getting closer every day. So ultimately the song is about stepping back and seeing the bigger picture because sometimes things will bring you farther away from the mountain and you have to say, no, I don't want to do that. So yeah, I mean it's like you said, it's like hopeful new direction kind of thing.
And I think for me the particular message that resonated with like environmentalism from that song was that sometimes you can't always see the mountain. Like you need to realize that, you need to know that it's there, you know that, like if you know you're doing the right thing, just keep going in that direction even though it might be hard. And I think as you guys are saying, like it's not always, you don't always get that turning point, that moment that just visually like strikes you in the face. It's not something that comes along for everyone or every day. So, but when it does come along, you should really listen to it and realize that there's definitely things that we can all do in order to like lessen our carbon footprint and lessen the rising sea levels and like save the animals.
So many things.
Yeah, it's actually pretty scary.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I mean, so I think that you guys are a little bit the exception because like for me, I feel like the understanding of environmentalism or like sustainability in Asia in general is not very high, with the exception of Taiwan. I feel like
Taiwan
people
is very eco-conscious.
Yeah, like so, but I wanted to get your thoughts too. Like, what do you guys think is the general like understanding of like how sustainably conscious or like environmentally conscious are people here?
I think people are warming up to it. Like before I had that change of mindset, I feel that like what Anie said just now, like if you do one thing today, you don't really see the impact, so you don't understand why. So I feel for me it was like that back then, so it was really really hard to change anything because I don't see why. I mean, I know it's affecting the earth, but how does it affect me? So I feel that because a lot of people, they don't have that visual impact yet, they're not aware of it simply because of that. So as long as we start creating more awareness and people know how to, for instance, recycle, what is a recyclable item, things like that, simple things like that. Because when I was living in Taiwan, I actually wasn't sure what is recyclable and what wasn't.
They sort into different types.
Yeah, and I would stand at the bin and being really confused. So it's not that I don't want to, I don't know how to. So I think education, like one of you shared earlier, is really important because if we are not educated in that sense, we don't know how to, even if we want to.
I think it's about like, in one sense, it's like the stimulus, like the awareness, and then in the next sense, it's like education, because you need something to like stimulate you, like why are you interested in this particular topic, and then after that comes, okay, now that I'm interested, where are the resources, or like for me to learn more about this. So that's kind of why I felt like Asian music in general, like I didn't, when I embarked on this campaign, I was like, okay, I need to think about like what Asian artists are kind of doing things in relation to the environment. And it was honestly very hard. At first it was very hard to find it, but then I realized I think I can't look at it from a Western perspective, because initially I was looking for artists like Novo Amor or like Billie Eilish, who are literally like employing things on like a bigger scale. Like for Billie Eilish, she has like stands at her concert where people can learn about climate crisis, and like her entire tour, they try and like do things in a sustainable way. Whereas with Novo more, like he also like he does the same thing with his tours, with his merch creation, and also he talks about it. He uses very visually striking images in his music videos. Like maybe he has music videos that talk about like pollution in Mongolia, and then others that talk about like they created like this plastic whale in the ocean that was the centerpiece of one of his music videos. But then I kind of realized I think Asia is not ready for that yet. Like we are not ready to take on messages in these ways, so I need to think about it from a different mindset and see how like Asian artists are actually creating content that will slowly get people like to warm up to ideas, because if they're not educated, you throw a picture of a plastic whale at them, they're gonna be like, what's happening, you know? So and then when I started looking more into like, for example, what Khalil Fong is doing, or like Wang Li Hong or Inch Chua, I realized that it's not always like there's not just one way to be environmental and like to incorporate that into your music, because Asia might not be ready for that. Like it would not make an impact on them, but there are definitely other ways. For example, like Khalil has a book series which is for like kids called Emmy the Dreamcatcher, and so he has one story which is called The Tree of Life. So that one is about like protecting the environment, and then it has a song to go with that as well. And then with Inch Chua, she did that binaural sensory performance, which was also pretty artistic. But yeah, it was played here. She performed it herself, and it was talking about her experience in Antarctica and like the melting ice caps. But it was like a whole experience. Like people would be like, oh, it's Inch Chua, it's a show, I'll go and watch it, you know. And then whereas with like Haya Band, which was one of the other artists we talked about in our series, for them they were like, they're from Mongolia, they were like, we don't have sustainability in our dictionaries in that language, because everything to us is just, it needs to be like a whole circle, it needs to come back together. So like their whole life is sustainable, like that's just their culture, that's how it is. And I thought that was really interesting. Like they're not talking about it very specifically in their music, but it's just, as you can see, like everything about their music is like very much, it always goes back to the earth and about and those concepts of like being sustainable and just like having the right mindsets. So I thought that was like really cool and something that I learned from doing this campaign as well. Oh, people are coming in. Oh, hi Fred. Hi Whiter. I'm gonna wave at everyone. Thanks for joining. So let me see what else I have. I feel like I already asked like all my questions. Peak. Yeah, I did ask all my questions. But I mean, I still think that it's like a really important thing, once again, like for everyone to change their mindsets about this topic, because if you don't change your mindset, then you'll have a really hard time taking action. And so that's why again I did this campaign, and I hope that if anyone is interested to know more, I think on Facebook there is a link that will take you to our APW Earth Emergency thing, where you can learn more about like the articles that are part of this campaign, and also about like the Patreon giveaway with the Together bands that are going on. But yes, so we only have, what date is it today? It's 24th. So we only have like 6 days till the end of our Patreon giveaway. So once again, if you are interested in getting one of these Together bands and showing your support for the environment and sustainable development, please join our Patreon page. All the links are like in the bios, or if you go onto Asian Pop Weekly, you'll see them anywhere. All you have to do is subscribe to our Patreon at any tier. They are also subscribed, so hence they have band, but also they're joining me for this. So so you just have to pledge to any of the tiers, and then also like message us like what your Earth Day pledge is. Oh, before we end, like I need to ask you guys what your pledges are for Earth Day.
For me, it's about I want to try to reduce the usage of one-time disposables. So I'm gonna learn to bring my own container if I'm going to take away a meal. But I actually encountered an issue with that before because I was going to order a 鱼片米粉汤. It's a soup.
I think you cannot put in Tupperware. You need the metal can.
Yes. So I went there with the Tupperware and she was like, 这个不可以这样放.
I've done that before.
会融化.
I've done that before.
And then she was like, 我知道是要环保. And like, she understands that I'm trying to be eco, but I didn't know what to do. So I was like, what should I do? But she poured it into the Tupperware anyway because she understood that that's what I wanted. But I had much difficulty bringing it back home.
Hot, right?
I wasn't sure if it was gonna just melt or disappear in thin air or something. So I think I need to be I need to understand how to go about doing so.
I think it's like first of all don't be too hard on yourself. I think Pew actually shared an article the other day. She has like a friend who's like a mermaid or something.
She had a friend who's a mermaid.
Like she I don't know, like she's like a part-time mermaid. You know how people like they're divers but they go and dive and then they wear the mermaid costume and then you can take photos with them and stuff. But she's also like kind of sustainable. But I thought it was
sustainable.
She's a sustainable like human being. Like she incorporates sustainability into her life.
I was thinking of the fins and all that. She's sustainable.
No, she's a person. But she was saying that when she was thinking about like environmentalism and sustainability, like don't beat yourself up too much. And actually I totally agree with that. Like I also, every time I don't bring like a bubble tea straw, I'm like, oh my god, does this mean I can't have bubble tea now? But I think it's like you need to give yourself a break sometimes, but also just push, like I always say, like push for progress, not perfection. So that's like the main thing for me.
Progress, not perfection.
Like I did you say you were inspired by that time I brought my own spoon to eat ice
cream? There was once we had ice cream. There were 5 of us, I think. We shared a tub. And so we got the ice cream first, and they gave us plastic spoons. And Giselle and Annie were still at Slopaholic. So I was telling Pew and Prue, like, dude, these are plastic spoons. Giselle and Annie are coming later. What are we gonna do?
So cute.
So but we decided to just eat and chat first, and then when you came along, I was like, okay. So I decided to, just give you a heads up if you remember what I did. I said, these are plastic spoons, so I don't know what you're gonna do. And Giselle was like,
she pulled out.
I pulled out a wooden spoon with my name on it.
And your name on it. And I was like, this is how she gets to eat the ice cream. Otherwise, she would have to. That.
I mean, if I didn't have the spoon, then obviously like I'd still eat my
ice cream. Eat it. Okay, so it's okay to eat it with a plastic spoon if you don't have your own spoon. Don't be hard on yourself.
I mean,
sometimes you can't control all the situations.
Or like maybe I'd be like, okay, maybe I should wipe yours and just use yours.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I was thinking about it. I was like, should I like wipe your spoon or should I get another one? And then I realized I have one in my bag.
That's good.
So then I just took mine out. I don't always bring it around, but since I had it, I was like, I might as well use it. So, okay, now what's your pledge?
I also want to be more mindful of single use because sometimes even when I try not to, sometimes you're in a restaurant, like a restaurant, but when you ask for a drink, they will bring it to you in a plastic cup. And then even like a few weeks ago, we were having like burgers in a place, and they were like, oh, do you want ketchup with your fries? I'm like, okay. And she brings it to me in like a Heinz little package that's by itself. And then on top of that, she put the Heinz packages inside a plastic cup. And then I was like, oh my god, like I'm not even gonna use the plastic cup and now I feel so bad for having asked for ketchup. So what I want to do is that before I ask for drinks or ketchup or things like that, I would try to like either ask the waiter or ask or even like look at other tables and see like, oh, are there drinks all in plastic cups? And if so, I will maybe, not have a drink, or I'll say like, do you have an alternative? Or if they put a straw in there, I'll be like, can you not give me a straw? Like something like that. So I feel like it's really hard to just say like no single
everything.
You can't avoid it because everybody's like, yeah, well, why are you fussing over this? It's like,
and you don't want to be that person.
Then we're the difficult ones, then, so you have to kind of be mindful about how you come off. But at the same time, how do I lower my consumption of those things?
I think it's again like comes back to like the concept of like perfection and like trying not to be so hard on yourself. Like maybe it's okay if like you take a plastic cup because you didn't bring a bottle, but just don't get a straw. Then that's still progress, right? Like you're saving one, and then slowly like you'll find. I feel like because the thing about sustainable lifestyles is that everyone is so different. So everyone has their own like routines or ways that they can be sustainable, and that's different for every single person. So for me, it's like I like to like leave a lot of stuff at my office. So like water bottles or like
what do you mean
lunch boxes or like cutlery.
Just in case.
Tote bags. So like because I know I'm not gonna like if I bring my stuff, I'm not gonna have that stuff on me. But probably like most of the time I'm going to be coming from the office to somewhere else. So if I have it ready at all times at the office and at home, then it's kind of like there's more of a chance of me remembering to bring that thing out. So that's for me, that's what I do.
It's a good
but everyone is like different. Like everyone has different lifestyles, different routines, different ways they do things. Like
I feel like it must be something that you can stick to.
It's consistency.
It's consistency. There's no point trying to have a goal that is so perfect and I'm like, I want to do that,
unattainable,
unattainable, and you end up not wanting to do it anymore. So I feel it has to be sustainable.
Because like, do you want to show them your bags?
We were gonna talk about these.
Like Annie brings like bags everywhere.
So I really love these because they're like really small, and then it's like a little pouch, and then when you pull it out, there's like a little bag inside. So it's like if we go out, we would just throw like 2 or 3 of these in our bags. If we know we're going shopping, or even if we're just going out, like we might buy something if we pass by whatever store. So we will just throw these in our bag. And then if we don't use them, they're very light. You could still just keep them on you. And it doesn't hurt. It just in case,
I feel like I couldn't do that. Like I couldn't.
Oh really?
Like probably now you say it's like light or whatever, just like sticking in your bag. That's fine. But like I think I always forget to stick them in my bag. But I try and I give myself a rule, like I try and put at least 1 tote bag in my bag at all times. Just one. And sometimes I just carry a backpack, so I just stuff everything inside. So that's what I do. Anyway, my pledge is. Oh, your pledge was also to eat less meat, right? That's my pledge as well.
Oh, okay, we have
because like meat is like it causes 50% of like all carbon emissions. Because of all like the farting and stuff, the cows farting. Seriously, that's where it comes from. So I just felt like, and also because when I was in quarantine, like I did 14 days vegetarian, and I survived.
You survived.
So I was like, it's not that bad. It's fine. Like just 1 or 2 days a week, it'll actually make like a big difference. So that was the way that I wanted to make like a major impact, and also just with APW Earth Emergency, or just my other efforts, trying to make like a more solid change and see like a change of habits in the people around me and stuff. So who's that? I don't know who that is. Hi. Anyway, I think we are very over time.
Yeah, we are. Oh
but it's great.
It's great.
Nice
chat.
Minutes.
You want to see if anyone's saying anything?
Our original plan chat was like half this time.
I think I spent way too long talking at the beginning, so that's why.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
But anyway,
thank you for joining us.
Thanks. We will upload this again in some form. And thank you guys.
You're welcome
for joining me.
Yay, we had fun.
If anyone wants to know more, please go to APW Earth Emergency. Just type it in Google or whatever, and I'm sure you'll find information. Please donate. All right. Okay, bye. Who is that? Oh, Justin. Oh, too bad. Bye.